Tonight on CBC Vancouver News. The death of a 15-year-old Indigenous girl on Vancouver Island and why it's being deemed suspicious. Plus, the unaffordability of a nutritious diet for BC families.
I just price compare more now.
The far-reaching problems caused by high grocery prices, and the local nonprofit helping vulnerable people get back into the workforce.
I got 2 job offers the next day when I get this professional suit.
How thousands have benefited.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Anita Bathe. We're learning new details about an Indigenous teen who died earlier this month on Vancouver Island. Investigators now say while the circumstances surrounding her death are considered suspicious, they have ruled out homicide as a cause. Dan Burrett joins us now with more. Dan, first tell us about the young girl.
She is 15-year-old Carson Mackenzie Seaweed. She is from the Namgas Nation and the Cowichan tribes. She traveled to Duncan with her mom, Marie, for Mother's Day almost 2 weeks ago. They were in town for a soccer tournament. Carson told her mom she planned to bus home to Mill Bay and left, but later phoned back saying she changed her mind. Marie became worried when Carson stopped answering her phone. She drove around for several hours looking for her daughter. The next day, May 15th, Marie saw posts on social media saying a body had been found in the area. She then learned it was Carson.
Just heartbreaking. Dan, what do we know about the circumstances under which she was found?
She was found discovered behind a Hotel 8 just off the Trans-Canada Highway. Carson was still alive when she was found, but very weak. The man who found her told her mother her skin was hot to the touch and she appeared to suffer a seizure. He also told Marie that Carson was under a wood pallet covered in garbage and twigs. Paramedics tried to save her, but she died.
Dan, can you walk us through what the police are now saying about all of this?
Well, in a statement, the RCMP says investigators are satisfied that the death is not the result of a homicide. But, as you said, the circumstances surrounding her death are considered suspicious, and a criminal probe is still on. The coroner also looking into her death. But her family says they're unsatisfied with this response and are left with far more questions. They believe her death is suspicious, and they're pressing police to consider all possibilities.
She had a beautiful smile. She had these big, beautiful dimples. She loved all her siblings. She was smart. She was very independent. She always told me that I was her best friend. She loved her little cousin. She was a natural caretaker. She loved children. We just want answers because she didn't deserve this. She was only 15 and she had huge plans for her life.
A rally is now being planned for tomorrow morning outside the North Cowichan Duncan RCMP detachment. Anita.
Dan Burrett reporting tonight. Thank you. A first-of-its-kind program in Canada is now operating out of Richmond Hospital to help people living with brain injuries related to substance use, including opioids and alcohol. The Cognitive Assessment and Rehabilitation for Substance Use program is run by Vancouver Coastal Health. It teaches people living with brain injury and their caregivers how to balance needs and limitations and provides them with rehabilitation and reintegration support.
Our team is staffed by a multidisciplinary group, occupational therapists, neuropsychology, social work, addiction psychiatry, and other support members on the team. So working together, we actually help the individuals identify their own goals.
People living in the Vancouver Coastal Health region can access the program by speaking with their healthcare provider or self-referring by calling the Richmond Hospital Central Intake Line. And the BC government is increasing access to cancer services in the interior with a new treatment centre coming to Kamloops. It will be built at Royal Inland Hospital, so patients in the Thompson Caribou will no longer need to travel to Kelowna to get radiation treatment. The exact cost of the centre is yet to be determined, but is estimated around $200 to $300 million and will be confirmed in a business plan that is expected later this year.
We need to distribute cancer care service around the province. It's why we're building and in the process of building 4 new cancer centers here in Kamloops and in 3 other communities to provide care closer to home and to meet the significant increased demand for care that we see.
Along with radiation services, Minister Dix says the new centre will include upgrades to the existing oncology network site to accommodate more patients with more treatment and exam spaces, as well as a modernized pharmacy. Dix estimates the building could be open by 2027. A Vancouver charity is helping people in need get back to work. Working Gear offers free safety gear and office attire. As the CBC's Anita Bathe reports, the charity is seeing growing demand amid inflation and more newcomers to Canada.
Working Gear, a nonprofit in Vancouver's downtown east side, is helping people get back into the workforce. It's like a community shop. Clients can take gear such as safety vests, clothes for an interview, and even get a haircut for free.
There's so many barriers to people getting back to work, and one of the easiest ones to solve is by providing the safety equipment and providing the clothing. I think it's really important now as we see a lot more people are struggling economically.
She says Working Gear is getting busier. Last year they supported around 1,200 clients. As of May, they've helped more than 800.
The clients that are coming in are newcomers from Ukraine, and they're just trying to rebuild their lives here. We have other demographics that are always kind of steady, like kids aging out of foster care, people that might have had like mental health crises or are exiting out of the criminal justice system.
Andre arrived in Canada 2 months ago as a Ukrainian refugee.
I got 2 job offers the next day when I get this professional suit. So Working Gear helped me a lot, and I'd like to dedicate my own time, my efforts, and to give back.
This couple is also from Ukraine. Andre was a professional massage therapist and Katerina a makeup artist for films and shows. Now they volunteer, organize clothes, help others, and continue to look for work.
For us, it's like a family. We came without clothes, or without money, without friends, without family, you know.
The team hopes to expand their services as their community and demand for gear grows. Anita Bathe, CBC News, Vancouver.
All right, start your pedals. The BC government is making it cheaper to get yourself an electric bicycle. Starting June 1st, e-bikes costing more than $2,000 before tax will be eligible for rebates ranging from $350 to $400, depending on your income. Unlike past programs, trading in an old vehicle is no longer required. Only bikes purchased from participating retailers will be eligible for the rebates. A list of those retailers will be posted next week. And you could soon see some new Coast Guard vessels in the waters off of Vancouver. Ottawa has committed $2.5 billion to build new various small vessels, including those for science, enforcement, and search and rescue. The federal government says it means the Coast Guard will be able to better operate in shallow coastal waters and inland lakes and rivers where larger ships can't go.
Today's announcement is essential for the Canadian Coast Guard to do the heroic work that they do to help protect Canada's oceans and coasts and to keep Canadians safe.
A total of 61 vessels will be built, including small craft barges and workboats. Canada's smaller shipyards will be able to bid on building the vessels. After the break, how BC families are struggling to keep nutritious food on the table and the mental and physical toll it's taking on our youngest population. Thanks for watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. A Saskatoon designer is heading to Fiji for its 16th annual Fashion Week. She is the first Indigenous designer from Canada to take part in the event and will be bringing along an all-female Indigenous team of models and stylists. We caught up with her to hear more about her journey from Saskatchewan to the South Pacific.
And your arms go through the big ones, yeah.
Beadwork traditionally is worn with regalias and ceremonial wear. And I just think it's so cool to explore and experiment and share it in another beautiful way.
This wraps around your ear.
I feel like I'm growing as an artist. I'm pushing myself each collection to do bigger, better pieces. Like how can I take beadwork and showcase it in like a new, exciting way? This collection has like really deep meaning for me. Each color represents something, and I'm just trying to incorporate it all together. My sister passed away, so the red, that's what the red is for. The black is for my grief, and the white is for like my healing. And I just want to incorporate that all together and create a powerful collection that just showcases our beauty and our culture and the strength of women and empowering women, and I guess heal from what our family's been through. And I'm doing that through my work. And we always say that beading is a form of healing. It's a form of praying. It teaches us things that, you know, you just can't learn any other way other than doing.
Does it feel tight? Or a little tighter?
A little tighter. Going to Fiji is such an amazing opportunity, and I'm so grateful that Helen asked me to be a part of it. And for her, like, this is a big accomplishment in her, like, designer career and being a designer. And to be a part of that, it's very, like, incredible, and I'm so grateful.
It's overseas. It's, you know, it's on the other side of the world, so it's a whole new networking group of people to meet. They also hold a lot of workshops leading up to the event, which are really geared towards like building a brand, business. I'm sure I'm going to meet people there that don't know anything about Indigenous culture or people. So the exciting thing is being able to incorporate that into my work and sharing that through my work. In a really fun, upbeat way. Our work can sometimes be taken and put on runways in inappropriate ways that, you know, can be disrespectful. So I think with me exploring different ways to share my beadwork, I'm hoping I can teach people to that it can be shared appropriately if you are willing to learn.
Land Back is a CBC original podcast where we uncover land theft in Canada and look at how Indigenous people are taking it all back.
And that's what empowered nations and empowered people to just literally steal land.
This is a consequence of your actions! And it's time to give land back.
Land Back is out now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Nurses from northern BC's largest hospital are warning of a breaking point with long waits in the ER and patients lined up in hallways waiting for care.
I had my own grandson here a few weeks ago, and it took us an hour. We waited outside this emergency room with just a security guard telling people to line up if they needed to see a doctor, an hour to get to a triage nurse. So I don't know, when a hospital's that backed up, what will happen in a state of emergency.
According to the BC Nurses Union, the University Hospital of Northern BC in Prince George is regularly operating at 118 to 125% capacity, with the ICU overloaded and patients receiving care in overflow spaces. In a statement, Northern Health says it is optimistic a recent deal between the province and the Nurses Bargaining Association would help address staffing and other issues. A new report from the BC CDC suggests nutritious diets are unaffordable for many families and individuals living on low incomes. The findings show the average monthly cost of a nutritious diet for a family of 4 in May and June of last year was $1,263 a month. The report shows many who live on low incomes can't afford a nutritious diet after paying rent, and nearly 15% of people in BC struggle to put food on the table. This is a growing concern for doctors. Babies, children, and youth may experience an increased risk of anemia, asthma, and hospitalization, as well as have poorer school grades and social skills. Adults can see higher rates of diabetes, heart disease, and depression.
It's sky high, right? Everybody knows that. Well, I just price compare more now. So I'll go from place to place.
And I take longer than I normally would to make a decision, I guess is what it is. But I'm going to buy what I'm going to buy.
Like lower rice and beans these days.
And we find that the costs are usually lower at stores that aren't huge chains.
It's so expensive. Like buying a piece of steak today, you know, it's outrageous.
The BC CDC will release an addition to the report addressing prices in rural, remote, and Indigenous communities. The special addendum will be released later this year. Joining me now is Dr. Raquel Kling. She's the Medical Health Officer of Northern Health. Dr. Kling, are there areas of the province where this problem is worse?
Absolutely. This new report shows that although food costing is much higher this year than previously, it does disproportionately hit different areas of the province. So, for example, in the north, where I'm based out of, we do know that food costs are much higher.
What does a diet lacking nutritious food do to healthcare costs in this province?
Yeah, those that aren't able to afford a nutritious diet and don't eat well, they have a range of physical, mental, and social issues that can definitely affect the healthcare system. And we know that those that don't eat a nutritious diet do have much higher healthcare costs than those that can afford a healthy diet.
And that's simply because they're dealing with more illnesses, things like that, and going into the medical system more often?
Absolutely. They're dealing with a range of physical ailments, mental health ailments, and well-being issues that significantly affect their health.
Why is it that supplements and vitamins aren't good enough? Never mind the fact that they are expensive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Supplements and vitamins are very expensive, and we do know that the best nutrition that we can get is through food. And that's why eating a nutritious and well-balanced diet is incredibly important.
What can actually be done here? What are some concrete things that need to change to help people in this province who can't afford healthy food?
The best thing that we can do is work on policy to create an appropriate income for everyone so that people can eat healthy food. We do know that income is the #1 predictor in being unable to afford a healthy and nutritious food and nutrition. So working on policies to ensure that we have an appropriate basic income for everyone is the best thing that we can do to ensure everyone eats nutritiously.
Dr. Raquel Kling, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And months of high consumer prices and high interest rates have been a recipe for driving up personal debt in Canada. Now, the federal agency that oversees housing affordability is expressing concern. The CBC's Anita Bathe reports.
It's no secret that Canadians are feeling stretched.
I stopped going out, and I don't even have Wi-Fi anymore.
I used to live in downtown, so I moved back home.
$41.70. Between the higher cost of living and higher interest rates meant to wrangle inflation, it appears many Canadians have racked up costly debt.
Half of my paycheck is going into paying off the credit card.
It's just ridiculous. Housing is too expensive, food is too expensive, childcare is too expensive.
Now, a warning from the National Housing Agency. Canadian households have the highest debt levels in the G7. If a recession or other unexpected crisis takes hold, the CMHC says families and the entire economy will be more vulnerable.
If people lose their jobs, they can't service their debt, their mortgage, and that leads to a major problem.
Canada's housing crisis is a central factor here. 3/4 of household debt is tied to mortgages. The CMHC says any attempt to address this looming problem should start with making housing more affordable.
Governments need to get together with the private sector to build more housing, get the supply side of housing working.
Still, it's also a call to Canadians to get their debt levels under control. But it's a difficult task for those who can barely afford the necessities.
If you've renewed your mortgage at any point in the last year, your housing costs are a lot higher, transportation is higher, so it's all of those expenses going up far faster than income.
This bankruptcy advisor says it's been his busiest month in years, a troubling trend that may be tough to turn around.
In a lot of cases, people don't have any choice. You can't just stop eating food because it went up in cost. So yes, we are in a crunch now.
A crunch that could get tighter when Canada's central bank makes its next interest rate announcement in just a few weeks. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Coming up, traffic and gridlock in Prince George. The culprit, well, you sort of see it there, but we'll have more next.
It takes a lot of truck to transport the biggest automobile ever built in Canada.
This cherished piece of Canadian history is heading to Vancouver Island for a homecoming of sorts. The trip will carry this famous 3-ton vehicle up the Island Highway. The 1939 McLaughlin Buick is best known as the car that carried the Prince of Wales and Lady Diana around BC Place at the opening ceremonies of Expo 86. But it first carried Prince Charles' grandparents, King George VI and the Queen Mother, on their cross-Canada tour 53 years ago. In 1940, the Royal Tour car was purchased by Mrs. Helen Ross Palmer, part of the Huntley Palmer Biscuit Company family. She brought the car to her summer estate on Comox Hill, where it entered everyday life as part of the local lore in the Comox Valley. This old film shows some of the 17 consecutive May Queens and their princesses who were transported in the annual Cumberland Empire Day parades throughout the 1940s and 1950s in the old Buick that was driven regularly by Helen Ross Palmer.
Are they okay? Is it right there?
Now the car has been brought back to Comox by a committee trying to purchase it from owner Vern Bethel, along with his extensive Royal Tour memorabilia collection. The car is fondly remembered by retired garage owner Bob Ash Sr.
Well, I remember when Mrs. Palmer used to bring it over to my service station to be worked on, and it was always well looked after by her, and I drove it occasionally, but never in a parade. But it was very well built, and she always took good care of it.
The car is elevated to royal coach status in time for a visit from royalty imitator Carolyn Sadowska.
Have you checked for bombs?
Yes.
Oh, splendid. So important, isn't it, these days? Will we be opening a dockyard or something this morning?
It is a May parade in the grand tradition of the town of Cumberland that has been putting them on for more than a century. Let's Bring It Home is the wish of the fundraising committee, which wants future May Queens to be carried in royal style.
I could almost get a tear in my eye when I think about the old parades in Cumberland for year after year after year, and the war years, and that car was here, and basically I think it's part of Cumberland as much as anywhere else.
What's your thoughts on seeing it today in the 104th parade?
Just tremendous.
You were the princess, and you were the May Queen.
Yes.
1945.
Yes.
What was it like to ride in this car as the May Queen?
Oh, it was nice. I felt like a royalty. Yeah.
Do you think, looking on this car now, that it's important to bring it back to the Comox Valley?
It would be nice.
Yes. Yeah, I think it would be great to have, there's so few things that are old.
So far, the town of Cumberland is the only Comox Valley municipality to donate to the fund to bring the Royal Tour car home. But local people and businesses have already raised half the $250,000 price tag. Alan Edwards, CBC News, Cumberland.
We're sharing really important information with the public, and I feel like this is exactly what our job is, especially as the public broadcaster, especially in morning radio. That's incredibly important.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
On June 13th, join CBC's Rudy Kelly at the Alumni UBC's free webinar with Dr. Jeanette Armstrong on revitalizing Indigenous language. Register at alumni.ubc.ca and register for the CBC's Indigenous Pathways to Journalism program. This paid 9-month learning and development opportunity supports Indigenous candidates to hone their skills as storytellers. Learn more at cbc.ca/pathways.
A young moose brought traffic to a standstill in Prince George as it was trying to cross a busy highway. Take a look. A motorist caught the animal trying to cross a barrier to get to the other side of the road last week. The calf was being guided by an adult moose who was trying to make sure the little one was safe. Another driver could be seen unsuccessfully trying to intervene. Eventually, both animals turn around and walk off the highway. Tiny little guy, love it. Okay, severe heat gripped parts of India this week, and zoos have made arrangements for their residents to cope with the hot weather. This elephant at the Delhi Zoo enjoyed being sprayed by a water hose, while the hippos at another zoo cooled off at their nearest pond. White tigers also got the opportunity to take a dip as temperatures in parts of the region hit 45 degrees. Johanna Wagstaff is away tonight. Ethan Williams is here. Ethan, well, I can't complain about the weather.
Well, a nice seasonal day across the province today. Temperatures around 20 degrees in a lot of portions of BC, including out on the island, even up in far northern sections too. And we can expect that seasonal air over the next few days. Our jet stream really not doing too much in the upper atmosphere. We're looking for kind of zonal flow. This is where the jet stream just kind of runs from west to east, making our temperatures pretty much the same and not too much happening in our weather. And that's the same at the surface level as well. We've seen some showers in portions of southern BC today, and I think overnight tonight we're going to be seeing those diminishing. A pretty clear night. Northern coastal regions could see a little bit of rain as the system begins to move onshore overnight tonight. That will start to diminish as it moves eastward through the north tomorrow. Again, portions of the Kootenays and the Okanagan region and just east of the lower mainland, we could be seeing some showers and thunderstorms, non-severe in nature tomorrow afternoon. And again, that'll likely be the case on Saturday. Another system moving toward the north coast as we head into Saturday. But tomorrow, looking very nice in terms of our temperatures through the province into the upper 20s in portions of the Okanagan. A little bit showery on the coast around Prince Rupert, but for Metro Vancouver and much of the lower mainland, we're looking for temperatures right around 20 degrees, just above seasonal for this time of year. A little bit of a humidex factor tomorrow, but mostly sunny conditions. We're saying goodbye to the rain for now, and overnight lows pretty nice as well. So overall, very seasonal and very nice over this next week.
Thanks so much, Ethan. Well, every week, Lisa Christensen sets your weekend social calendar, and this week, she's got an event that will get you inside some places you don't normally see. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Lisa Christensen, and this is Getting Out, your weekly look at events in the Lower Mainland worth getting out for. And today, we're going to start in New West. There's a big tour coming up this weekend, and this is when people are invited to come and see the beautiful heritage homes of New Westminster, outside, inside, and we're in one right now, and this is your house.
Yes, that's correct. Built in 1910, and it has been restored by myself. I've been here since '79. These two gentlemen right here are living in two homes that I moved onto the back half of our property, which fronts on Manitoba Street, or did.
And one of them is you brought in from Vancouver, and one is from New West.
That's correct, yes.
That's right. And so which one do you live in?
I live in the New West one, so
Okay.
formerly at 217 St. Patrick's Street. Me and my wife had always dreamed of in New West. We'd always cherished the heritage aspects of Queen's Park, and just were honored and privileged that Steve decided to do this with his property.
Yeah, it's just a real privilege, and a daily thing I appreciate, living in an area that's just soaked in heritage and history.
Tell me a little bit more about the tour. How can you get involved in it?
Well, there are tickets online, and you can look up the association, New Westminster Heritage Association. You get a program, self-guided tour, you drive around to the houses listed. They check you in, you look at the house, and you move on. It's like that.
Also in New West, the Hayak International Parade and Festival in the park is the province's largest family-oriented multicultural parade with over 100 entries from throughout the Pacific Northwest. It takes place at Tipperary Park on Saturday from 11 till 4. Surrey Spark Stage's Family Weekend runs from May 26th to the 28th at the Surrey Arts Centre. Experience amazing performances from South Korea, Denmark, Australia, Quebec, and BC. On Friday night, you can go dancing with the kids. DJ Naditi Cascade and Latin pop, friendly pop, hip hop, Afrobeats. It's all in Surrey at the Arts Centre lobby at 7:30. In partnership with Kickstart Disability Arts and Culture Access Fest and the Vancouver Art Gallery, there's an accessible tour designed to welcome the disabled community during Access Awareness Week. The Access Tour will provide an opportunity to explore worlds featured in the exhibitions of Sherry Boyle outside of the Palace of Me and Hard Edge. It takes place on Tuesday, May 30th. And that's it for Getting Out this week, so don't forget to get out, like getting out to the New West Homes Tour. I'm gonna go and finish mine.
I love a good homes tour. Check out some heritage homes in New Westminster. Sounds like a cool way to spend the weekend. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on CBC Vancouver News. That is it for our program. We will see you right here tomorrow. Good night.